Attention, bobsled riders! You will soon be embarking on a thrilling podcast down the icy slopes of the Matterhorn. So please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the bobsled at all times. Auf Wiedersehen!
Hello, yodelers! We are all the Matterhorn Yodelers. I'm your host today, Jackie, and we have...
Chiefus.
And...
I'm the walk-off music because you've been on talking way too long.
Oh.
We're only a minute
we
into
just
this.
started.
We just started.
No, we're done.
Enough, Jackie. No more talking.
Get off stage. Get off. Too long. Move along to the next segment.
And that's Peter. And today, we've got our favorite guest host, Father Yodeler.
Hello.
And
And he's kind of graduated to guest host now because you've been on the show so much that you're now just a guest host.
I'm a guest host. Ooh,
I
I get
think
the
so.
special spot at the end
Yeah.
of the credits.
That's
Yeah.
You introduce everybody else,
Hey,
and
they
after
get
everybody else.
they get an Academy Award too now.
That's good.
Or I guess what Emmys or whatever for TV shows. So
I mean, it's like
guest
Walt.
hosts.
It's like Walt back in the day. He's the producer, and he's like, yes, he received all these. And it's like he's involved, but like, how much is the producer really, in the mix of things? So I always laugh when they're like, Steven Spielberg produced it. It's like, did he just sit and watch the movie? He's like, that was good. All right, Steven Spielberg produced it. Like, I always joke when you have all these producers,
Right.
and we're like, how involved was he? All right.
Oh, interesting. That's why we're actually here today, or why I'm here, to talk about the Academy Awards.
That's coming up.
It is, unless
I think-
you haven't watched it timely.
Right.
That's true.
That's true. That's just probably most of the time for our viewers. They watch it like 3 months later. You'll see an influx like 12 people listen to this episode. Like, where were you 2 months ago?
It's okay. We appreciate
Yes, we do.
listens.
So I thought we'd talk about the Academy Awards. Walt Disney has a huge relationship with the Academy Awards, lots of awards for him. He has been nominated for more awards than any other one person. MGM Studios has been nominated more than Walt Disney, but for one person. Walt Disney,
And no one's going to beat that record.
it's
The way things are set up now, there's no one that's going to beat that record.
Michael Phelps has.
well.
He's beating all records.
He won 8 gold medals in China.
No, actually, the person who's coming close is John Williams.
He's not even that close, though.
Oh,
How many does John Williams have?
it's over 50.
Well, John
And
Williams
Walt-
has 50
nominations.
Oh, nominations.
Nominations.
Okay.
Not awards.
No one's
awards
co-
is
oh,
not
sorry.
close.
Right. Okay, that's what I thought you were talking about, the awards.
John
Okay.
Williams has 50 nominations or more, because I'm not sure when this list was compiled. And then Walt Disney had 59. Pretty sure with that one since he's passed. So, and then actual awards, Walt Disney received 26 awards, and in actual competitive awards, he's received 22 awards.
Yeah.
The others were
Honorary.
Yeah.
awards.
I actually wrote that down. I was like, Dad will ask us. They're like, how many? And I was like,
Honorary.
no,
one,
just
right.
26, Do the little statuettes count for the 7 dwarfs?
Not the
the
individual
little
ones.
ones.
That counts as one, not 8.
That's the one where Walt was like really petty about. Like,
He's received several honorary Academy Awards. He received one for creating Mickey Mouse in '32, which was the same year the first Academy Award went to one of his pictures for, what was it, Flowers and Trees.
The first cartoon.
First colored
cartoon, I
The
mean.
first
yeah.
color cartoon received an Academy Award, and Walt Disney received an honorary one for creating Mickey Mouse, which is got to be a great thrill for him. And then Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, he received an honorary trophy, which
it's very unique.
it is very
Oh,
unique.
It's tiered. So if you don't know what it looks like, there's a famous picture with Shirley Temple with
'Cause she
with Walt.
presented it to him.
Yeah, and so it's like it's got like a miniature one, and then there's all these little 7 miniature like Oscars on this like wood base platform.
You can see it at the Disney Family History Museum in San Francisco.
He's got like what? They've got a whole display.
The
of
whole
them. I think there's
display,
like
not
20,
all of them.
20 of them are
Right,
there.
because a lot of them are at the Disney Archives
right.
with the Disney company.
But there's that. They also received honorary ones for Fantasia because that was the first stereo,
Right.
Or surround sound, if you want to call it, system. Everything had been mono before Fantasia. And in 1941, he received the Irving Thalberg Memorial Award, which goes to somebody who's done, whose body of work is exemplary. And that was the fourth time that had been given. And that's pretty remarkable in itself.
Right.
If you don't know the story of Irving Thalberg, he was a producer, produced movies like Mutiny on the Bounty, lots of movies in 20s and 30s. But he passed away when he was 37 years old. So it's like he was young when he passed away, and they created this award for him. So interesting story just about him. But that's kind of off of the Disney story of the Academy Awards. But the 32, and in 32 when he won that Walt Disney honorary Oscar for creating Mickey Mouse, he was only the third person to receive an honorary Oscar. The first person, was Warner Brothers for doing The Jazz Singer, the first audio movie, and Charlie Chaplin the same year for doing a silent movie called The Circus. So it's interesting that they got a silent movie and a sound one honored that first
It's
year.
interesting because I did learn something about what are they called? The Best Production Awards. And this shows me because I've grown up in the age of color, that they used to have an award for black and white films and color films.
Oh, wow.
And so when I was looking at the nomination for the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, it won the best one for color, but there was another one for black and white.
Interesting.
And I was like, and that went on till about the 70s.
Whoa,
or the
that
1970, they were still recognizing black and white films.
Wow.
That's about when they stopped making black and white films. Oh, there were lots of black and white films in the 60s, so that makes sense as far
So
as
it was
the
just
timing
like,
on that.
I was just surprised that it went on because I figured the 60s like, well, once you got color, everyone's gonna do
Yeah.
it, and that's, I mean, you watch Hitchcock films, and that's not the case,
Right.
And so it was interesting to learn that I was like, oh, okay.
So what we'd like to do here is just talk about what Academy Award-winning films you can watch on Disney Plus, and which ones you would want to watch for a specific Academy Award. So for like Best Picture, which one would you watch? For Best Actor, which one would you watch? And so
Haley Mills.
So we'll go through them by category here, and these are just the ones that are on Disney Plus. Things that are not on Disney Plus that you might think that might be on the list would be like Dick Tracy.
Yeah.
Dick Tracy won a lot of awards, but not available on Disney Plus right now.
It's Mumbles.
Mumbles.
It's too much. Murmur, murmur.
He's a funny character. If you have a way
It's
to watch
Dustin
Dick Tracy,
Hoffman.
do we know how to watch Dick Tracy? I have no idea.
I don't know
No.
where it's
Is
currently.
it a Touchstone film?
It is. I think it was
It's
a
probably
Touchstone.
probably under Showtime. Every time I'm looking for like, oh, how do I stream this show? Showtime. Ugh. Every time.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think I've ever seen Dick Tracy.
Oh
It's
wow!
visually
very, very.
pleasing,
The art direction was very well done.
and I think I got nominated for it.
for the costuming and the set designs, probably. And
I remember watching that film, going to the movie theater with you, and I think our aunt and uncle were there.
Could be.
And I remember it was a scene with Madonna, and she was like trying to seduce. And I remember Mom just putting her hand over my eyes. I was only like 5 at the time, and I was like, "Oh man!" So that's why they don't show it on Disney Plus.
So,
Because Mom put her hand over my eyes.
Yeah.
so since we'll be going through all the awards, this will be a 3-hour podcast today. But
Get your popcorn ready.
so to spare you, for those who need to cut out early, we're going to start with Best Picture. And we're going to give the nominees of what's the best picture you should watch on Disney Plus that won the Best Picture award based off of who won Best Picture.
I think Beauty and the Beast, it got robbed. No, I'm just joking.
Unfortunately, it did not win, although it was nominated. So, our nominee is, and the winner is, The Sound of Music, the only Academy Award-winning Best Picture show you can watch on Disney Plus.
Which
currently.
wasn't even Disney. So Disney doesn't even own that title
No,
for one of its own
So that it has not won.
That's
Best
on
Best
Picture
Picture
ever.
has not.
So
Has
the
there been any? There has
no.
been none.
Beauty and the Beast is probably
The
the closest
closest?
because it was at the time was like 3. And I mean, for an animated film to get in there into that
in
like
there?
that 3,
It was a big deal.
that was huge. And I can't remember what it went against, but it was probably
It was like Silence of the Lambs or something like that.
yeah. So it was always a shock, and that's when they're like, we probably need to have a best animated. Like that's kind of when I think that
Yeah.
movie got it started. They're like, we need to have a best animated.
We need to have a Disney category, and
Yeah.
Disney just wins. This is
And
a-
the Disney
and-
Award it goes to.
And that's what best animated short film was. If you look, it won like the first 8
Yeah.
first 8
Yeah.
awards.
Same thing with the animated shorts. It was the same there too. But as far as Best Picture goes, you can't pick one that's
It still holds up.
it
Oh,
holds
it's
up.
so good.
I just watched it and I was
it's
like, that's
timeless.
good.
It's not like one you go, well, okay, maybe in its time that's why it won, but
No.
it just lifts you up and makes you feel good and
I hear
get
the
involved.
I hear the name Maria and like it's in my Spanish Duolingo and they're like, "Tu eres Maria," and I'm all like, the songs from Sound of Music pop in my head,
Now, if you-
and I'm like, "Tu eres Maria."
very good.
It's going to be a dual podcast.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of singing in this episode.
So
There's a lot of music awards for Disney. In this.
So that's your only option, but it's a great option. Great movie. Every time I watch it, I go, my heart and my soul just melts. It's very enjoyable to watch. And so good choice to choose for. If you could only have one, that's not a bad choice for Best Picture.
My only discrepancy about the film is like it doesn't have the Indiana Jones effect where it requires a Nazi to be punched in the face. I kind of needed Maria to do that.
You need to.
But it has Nazis.
And
you
it's-
know?
It does have Nazis,
And it's gotta have
but they
the-
didn't punch him in the face.
it's got to have the punch sound too.
Yeah, the over-exaggerated gun sound and punch.
You just edit a part in there of Indiana Jones.
That's the best scene in Indiana Jones when they're in like the bar in Nepal and like you first hear that gunfire from Indiana Jones and like that bar fight and
Right.
that was I remember turning up the speakers and just you could feel the concussion of the fight from the speakers.
Well, let's hope that the new Indiana Jones film joins The Sound of Music as Best Picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Just don't suck. That's my award for it. Don't ruin the
I
character.
think we're closer to Avatar 2 be getting that honor before Indiana Jones will.
Well, hard to say. Hard
We'll
to
see.
say. All right. So, Best Director, the nominees, and the winner is The Sound of Music. Robert Wise directed The Sound of Music, and
I mean, no shocker there.
I think there's only 9 times that the Best Director didn't also
Win Best
win
Picture.
Best Picture.
Because it's
So-
kind of like hand in hand.
Yeah.
Like, this is the best movie, but you were the worst director.
Or
Wait,
production
how does that work?
and special effects. It's all like your production's great, but their like effects were much better, and you're like, oh, it usually go hand in
Right.
hand.
Now we're going to distance ourselves by going to Best Actor, Best Actress. And that goes to, the nominee is Julie Andrews, not for The Sound of Music, but for Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins.
I mean, no shocker there. She's amazing. So
Yes.
You'd give her that award
yeah,
again.
I would.
I
still
would give her
that.
every award if
I
I
think-
could.
She was a gem
Oh yeah.
of that time. Like fantastic.
There was a picture where they were showing young actors in a dance studio trying out for a role, and it was like Mary Tyler Moore and Julie Andrews in the same shot. You're like, boy, that's a tough, that's a tough competition right there. Look at the talent in that room right there.
Well, I always loved hearing how Walt found Julie Andrews. It was because the Sherman Brothers had seen her perform on stage, and so
Camelot.
Yeah.
yes, and so they invited Walt. They couldn't just openly say we want Julie Andrews to play Mary Poppins. It had to be Walt's idea. So they took Walt to the show, be like, "Oh look, she's really good," and Walt's all like, "That's my Mary Poppins right there."
That's how he does it. 'Cause he watched something and he's
Yeah.
like, that's that person.
Yep.
He did that with Davy Crockett, and he just like, he sees something, he's like, that's the person.
That's it.
That's what happened to James Baskett, who got selected to play Uncle Remus in Song of the South. He got an honorary Academy Award for playing Uncle Remus, and he kind of got that award, some say, because they didn't want him to be nominated as Best Actor because of the color of his skin. But
He still got an
he
Oscar.
got an Oscar.
And he's overshadowed.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
you don't hear that kind of like fact
No.
anymore.
No,
Yeah, I just told my brother-in-law, and he was all like, "I'm going to use that fact. I like that fact." I'm like, "Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good."
James Baskett won that award. Died a year later because of heart failure, but he definitely charmed people. You can see him on Disney Plus in little snippets in
Like
Disney
sing-alongs.
sing-alongs,
Yeah.
documentaries. You get little pictures of Uncle Remus singing "Zippity Doo Dah."
Open that vault. Open that vault.
Of
Not
all
a-
the things
not in
that are
this generation.
controversial and questionable to view in our society, I don't think Song of the South ranks in the realm of something that shouldn't be watched by people.
I mean, Disney's already gone to the extent of putting warning labels before
Yeah.
some of these other movies. Why not do that for Song of the South?
Absolutely.
Because the Song of the South is what triggered a lot of it.
Not really, though. There was a lot of things that triggered that, but let's not get into that discussion. That's a different discussion.
We got to do Academy
for
Awards.
a
There's a
different-
long list. Let's not get
different
into that.
podcast.
Okay. So we've got Best Cinematography. The only one that won that award on Disney Plus is Avatar.
The all fake cinematography.
complete.
It's interesting that that's the movie, because that's not what I think of. I don't think of special effects when I think of cinematography. I think
Right.
of
I think of like Lawrence of Arabia.
yes.
That's just
Yeah.
like you're just blown away with the shots and like how they pull in and out, and you're giving the expanse of the story and the geography and stuff
But
like
you
that.
did get that in Avatar when you saw it in the movie theater.
You
But
do.
that's not what you think of when you think of best cinematography. But that you do get that. Wow, what a world that
Right.
Oh,
James
I
Cameron
thought I walked
created.
away and I was like, what a movie! Like,
Yeah.
you don't see movies like that too often in your life. Like, we walk away and you're like, that was amazing.
So we'll follow up cinematography with Best Production Design. We have 3 Academy Award winners in that category: 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Avatar, and Black Panther.
So what could you describe? What would qualify? Like, what does that mean? Best production design.
It could be like how they created the movie, like the scenes for the movies and what they went into
Set
it.
design.
So it could be set design. So I got the email from you guys, and so I picked 3 movies, and so
Yeah.
20,000 Leagues was the one I picked because I was like, I've read the book. I probably read 3/4 of it. and they talk about what went into this film, and it's amazing. It was like Walt's first big
Oh, yeah.
live action film. He spent $5 million on this.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa.
In the 50s.
In the
yeah.
50s. 50,
Yeah.
53 is when it came out.
He paid $17 million a few years later to build Disneyland.
It's right here. I wrote that because I knew Dad would ask me that. I'm prepping. I'm like, what's Dad gonna come out with? And that 17 always comes up, right? And I was like, that's huge
That's
for
a
a
lot.
movie, and it is the most expensive movie up to that point. And so they built like a 150-foot like boat. They built a 70-foot giant squid. They built special cameras for filming underwater. It was so groundbreaking for its time and its production scene. They got like locals to like be off the beach and like interact. It took it to the next level. And I guess that's what you think with production is that next level.
And that set that they built for the movie of like the seafloor where they're walking through like the caves and caverns.
Yeah.
They just like covered it up and they reused it again for Armageddon. So like when they're
Really?
on the asteroid, that's from 2000 Leagues
All
Under
that
the
black
Sea.
stuff is black mold.
wow.
Yeah.
And asbestos.
I was like, it's pretty old.
That's why they wear helmets in space. They always had to wear helmets.
So I don't know if it's still there, but it was there up into the 90s. So
Yeah, and for the production values, I mean, just the way the submarine looks and everything
looks
else.
Yes.
great.
Just and their underwater.
I think it's more of
scuba
a-
diving suits. It's just very
Oh
well
yeah, they used to
designed.
have like special film like built into the helmets. There's a documentary on YouTube that's like it's like an hour and a half, but they go all into the production and everything with it. So if you're a fan of the movie, it's on YouTube for free, and they have they have actors and the people who were making it interview about the movie and just how groundbreaking it was. But yeah, like they had like an underwater like camera built into like the suit where the film would go through to do some of the point of views. I think when you think of production, how immersive is it into
Very
the
immersive.
story? And for that movie, I don't think I didn't appreciate it until I like looked more into it. I was like, this is huge for Walt and his like it brought us all the live action films. If it failed, I don't think they would have done
well,
it.
there was a point in production of that movie where they were having issues with the squid fight.
Yeah, they had to
Yeah.
redo it.
They had to keep redoing it, and like
Oh.
it just wasn't looking good because they could see the wires of the tentacles.
Yeah.
It just looked really bad. And Walt comes in and goes, with one, what if it's at night?
What if it's
During a
raining?
storm.
Yeah, what if it's
What if it's raining and it's at night? And like that changed everything, and that like made that scene work.
that is a $200,000 scene as a result.
Whoa.
Yeah, Walt came there and he's like, nope, not good enough. It's his debut, and I think he knocked it out of the park with winning that award. And
You can say one thing, like we made that joke about producers. Now it's all like, what did they really do? Walt had his hands in most of everything that he produced.
Yeah,
So-
I think it's interesting that he won that award for his body of work back in '41, and here we're into
Right.
the '50s, and he's just starting out in live action.
he's just
and
cracking his
creating-
knuckles. He's like,
Yeah.
all right, let's get started here.
Let's get going on this.
he also had a legacy to uphold. People expect something from me. So, okay, the next award in line is Best Adapted Screenplay and Story goes to Miracle on 34th Street.
Which
the
one?
Only
The
one.
old-
The
Original.
1947 one.
Okay, it's
It's
good.
the only one that's on Disney Plus.
No, the other one's there.
The other one's on there.
Oh, is it?
The 90s version's
Oh, that's
there.
right. I did see it there. No Academy Awards for that one.
I don't know. It's pretty good. I
But-
like that.
It's like my favorite Christmas movie.
But I'm a millennial. I love that.
But the story was just out of the world, and
It
and
was a
that
great.
movie was
It was
Oh,
a
it's a
great,
good movie.
unique storyline when it first came out. Like
Yeah,
that was
came out
very
in
original.
June, and then it stayed in the theaters all the way through Christmas because it was just so
Wait,
popular.
it was released in June?
It was yes.
Oh.
This movie was released in June, and then it just kept going
That's
right
bold.
through till
It
Christmas.
is bold.
They-
This movie's so good. It's Christmas themed. We're going to do it in summer.
Christmas in July.
Well, you also have to consider the time where,
How many
movies were like
In the theater a long
in the theater a
time.
lot longer. There was no video or DVD release that was going to happen later, so there was no like reason to season specific movie releases. It's just, let's put it out there. Let's fit it in the schedule and just put it out there and have it take.
Yeah, with all the Pixar movies, you'd think, why didn't they ever win a best story or adapted script or something like
Right.
that? You know,
That's
some of those
true.
stories for Pixar. Interesting. Best sound nominee and winner, the only Star Wars.
Yeah.
Best sound effects.
I mean, it makes
period.
sense.
I was watching Toy Story 2 this morning, and I was all like, "Oh, Star Wars!"
Oh, yeah.
Like the lightsaber sounds and like the battery effect. I was like, "Oh, this is so good."
Even
Made the movie in so many ways.
the
sound.
blaster sounds and oh yeah.
There's a good documentary out there behind the scenes of like how they made, Star Wars or the company that
Yeah.
was set up for
The
it.
Light and Magic is the
Yes.
so good.
It's, yeah.
So
very good.
sometimes just close your eyes, put on Star Wars, and enjoy the sound. Next, we've got Best Animated Short Films.
There's only like 2 of these, right?
No, here we've got a lot of winners.
This is
here.
where Walt won a lot.
Yeah.
And-
He owned like the first 8 that came out.
Yeah. Flowers and Trees, Three Little Pigs, The Tortoise and the Hare, The Old Mill, Ferdinand the Bull,
I like Ferdinand the Bull short.
That's
That was one of my
good. That was
favorite ones
good.
It's really
growing up.
good.
The Ugly Duckling, Lend a Paw, Tin Toy,
That's
Jerry's
garbage.
Game.
Tin Toy is garbage.
Well,
Do
yeah,
not
that was
watch it.
for-
It was
for
the first.
Innovation with computers.
It's garbage. Don't watch it. Stay away.
That baby
it's
is
short.
scary.
You can
Oh, the
watch it
baby is
once.
the suit. That'll give you
Oh,
nightmares.
the baby.
Baby is a he's a creepy.
You got Jerry's Game, For the Birds, Piper, and Bayo. That Bayo.
Bale's
Bow?
good.
I
Bow.
never.
Bow.
I never.
Bow.
I never. Bow.
Yeah, I guess they're saying Bao. I was Bayo too. I like Scott Baio,
That's one I never quite got.
Oh,
Oh,
I
why that
loved
one?
it. I loved
It was
Bao.
good. I mean, out of all the Pixar shorts,
Out of, I don't know, the recent ones I thought was,
I love
because of
Jerry's
that film,
Game.
you got the
Jerry's Game
director
was great.
for Turning Red.
yeah.
You got that team created from that. I think Pixar uses those shorts to test their
They do.
up and coming stars and going, that was good. Let's give you a bigger
go
one.
Let's give you a bigger script.
Was the Old Mill, was that the first one to use the multiplane?
I don't recall, so I don't.
Part of me
know.
thinks that was the Old Mill was the one that was the
It's-
first time they used the
It's
multiplane.
definitely a visual film. Very, very, very visual. So I could see that. So
I have Linda Paul. Those are the other research one I did. And that is the first Oscar movie with Mickey Mouse in it.
the only
The only.
Oh.
And it's really a Pluto short. It's
in
all
a
about
competitive
Pluto.
one.
Yes. And the movie, it's on Disney Plus. It's 8 minutes. It's Pluto saves a kitten, and then you get the Pluto gets jealous, and then you have the
yeah.
evil Pluto, of the devil Pluto, and the
Yeah.
angel,
Oh,
and he's got to
yeah.
save him. And
That's such a good one.
it's a good, and it's been replicated again and again. That kind of you see it in Emperor's New
Emperor's New
Groove
Groove with
with Evil Kronk.
Yep. Oh my gosh, yes.
So I recommend it.
I can do this. I don't see how that's relevant. He's got a point.
He's got a point there.
He's got
yeah.
a point there.
What's more, if you're a Disney fan, you get to watch an Oscar winner where Walt Disney is doing the voice of Mickey Mouse.
It's true.
He did the voice of Mickey Mouse until I believe it was 1946, somewhere in that area.
Yeah, his voice was giving out on him.
And I could see that. You got like that movie went against, or that short went against 10 other shorts, and one of them was Superman against his arch rival,
Oh.
the Max Fleischer.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
The guy, Betty Boop. His son was actually the director of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I'm just gonna throw that in there. Little bridge the connection there.
Interesting.
I love Wikipedia. Boy, the connections you can do going back and forth when you learn stuff. But
I am surprised that there isn't more on here of how many shorts Pixar pushes
Well,
out.
if we included nominations,
Oh, it would be very
goes
long.
far.
This is
Yeah.
strictly
It's winning.
winners.
But still
Strictly the
winning.
winners.
It's not as many.
And so this is the next year was like, what was the movie called? I wrote it down. Die Fuhrer Face. That's the one with like Donald
Donald
Duck,
Duck,
and
yeah.
he's like fighting the
That's
Fuhrer.
not on Disney Plus.
That's not. No, I know.
but he
it's-
did win.
He won, and that's really like the last one during Walt's era. They give credit for the Winnie the Pooh one
Right,
in
that-
'68.
That was the short before they had made the other two movies.
Yeah.
And made it the many
One movie.
adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
But you don't see any more movies win, and that's when you get like Bugs Bunny,
Yep.
and you get all those other kind of shorts coming in. You're getting the Looney Tunes, and I think that's where Walt loses focus on the shorts as much because you have Cinderella coming out and all those other movies. And
Well, he
so-
came out with Fantasia in the 40s because Mickey Mouse was losing popularity. And so he wanted to make Mickey Mouse big again. And so he devised The Sorcerer's Apprentice and then spent too much money on it and needed to add more to it. So he created Fantasia around.
And to this day,
Mickey
you
Mouse.
hear that music, you think of Mickey Mouse.
Oh, absolutely.
Like a lot of people might assume that that's a Disney song. No, that's not a Disney song. It's just that's what you think about when you hear that song.
So, Peter, if you were to recommend one film to recommend the best animated short out of that list, which one would you recommend?
I love you. No, it's not.
That would totally would be that. I love that.
My daughter loves it.
I just heard there was a youth competition. I helped run, and one girl was singing that, and I was all like singing along with her backstage. I was
tears
like,
going down.
Oh yeah, so good. If I had to pick one, I would say go watch The Old Mill. I think it's a very beautiful, artistic. It tells an interesting story. It's not like a funny thing. It's just a story of this old mill that you see go through a storm, and you just see. It's a very beautiful short that I think gets overlooked.
Very good.
I would say Flower and Trees. It's the OG. It's like when I think of like Walt's
First animated. one.
animated, like
Academy
I think of
winning and
that
stuff,
for
yeah.
sure. And it's just like I grew up on that.
Is it the first color one he
Yeah,
did?
Yes, it was
Is
the
the
first
first
color.
color.
Oh yeah, it's kind of historic. If you want to get into get to the roots of it, I think it's important.
Yeah.
Get it?
He
Roots
got-
of it.
he got
Flowers
it.
and trees. Oh, I went over your guys' heads.
Is it? And correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a big song in that one, right?
Like there's music because
There's
it's a silly,
music.
it's a
There's-
silly symphony, so it's music.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a big song, you go to the next one on the list, which was the Three Little
Oh
Pigs.
yes.
That was his
That
first
was-
big song.
I
Oh,
remember having
yeah.
fun watching that as a kid.
That one did it. Okay, moving on. We've got Best Film Editing, and the nominees of the winners. The winners were
I love this list.
Mary Poppins, The Sound of Music, Star Wars, and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Those all won Best
love-
Editing.
I love Who Framed Roger Rabbit, like compared to the other three. It's just like
Mary Poppins, Sound of Music, Star Wars, Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yeah, you have this beautiful family, and then you have the bell ringer that's like in there smiling. You're like, oh, okay, you're here. I guess you belong.
Well, it's a very
It's a well done film.
it's a very well edited movie. Like you
it's-
could tell, like there was a lot of work that went into that.
It's one of those like once in a generation kind of films when it comes to
Yes.
like the
Yeah.
integration.
But if you're going to pick one for Best Editing, which one would you recommend people watch?
Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, you watch that documentary, Light and Magic,
Yeah.
and you get that whole new appreciation of the amount of work that went into making that first movie, and you're like, oh my gosh.
How like they were like so behind in their special
Yeah.
effects. Like they had nothing
They had nothing.
and they pulled it out.
Yeah, I watched a documentary on YouTube about the editing of it and how the first time that George Lucas showed it to anybody, Spielberg, you've heard about that.
Yeah.
It was the original edit, and everybody said it was just garbage the way it
Right.
was put together.
He's like, oh boy, good luck, George.
He got three individuals, including his wife, to get involved in in editing that, and it came out wonderfully.
Yeah.
Wonderfully. And I have to support that too, just because I know of
The amount
all
of
the
work that went
the
into
work
that.
that went into it. Lots of documentaries to tell you about.
Nothing better than that, like the Vaseline underneath the speeder to
Yeah.
make it like, because they need to
Right.
hide the wheels.
Right.
Okay, next we have Best Original Score. So this isn't necessarily the songs, but the music behind the movies. And the ones that have won Academy Awards are Pinocchio, Dumbo, Mary Poppins, The Sound of Music, Star Wars, The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Pocahontas, Up, Black Panther, and Soul. So quite a list of best scores.
Yeah.
I'm kind of torn between Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast, but those films I watch a lot. I did watch Up, and I was like, oh, that was really good. Like the music, because I was watching
yeah.
it for that, and
It's my wife's ringtone. Is the theme from Up.
mine's Darth Vader. No,
I
I'm joking.
I really liked Black Panthers.
It's
Sound-
unique.
It's so unique. It gets you in the mood for the movie. It sets the tone. I just remember watching Black Panther the first time, and I was like, the music is amazing. Just like the background of it all.
I didn't much care for this movie, but the soundtrack for Soul, beautiful.
Yeah.
The jazz music that's played throughout the. Oh, it's so smooth. It's a very relaxing movie to like just listen to.
It's interesting that out of all those winners, there's only one Pixar movie. Oh, two. That's right. Soul is in there too.
Right.
But two
Yep.
out of the Pixar movies. But you've got the gold. I mean, what do they call that? The Silver Age of Disney coming out there with
Right.
Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and Pocahontas.
I mean,
all
I would have
coming
said
out
Al
there.
Menken, you know.
Yeah, he
Oh, maybe.
conquered that.
I mean, I would have said Star Wars, but I kind of used that before, and I wanted to talk about a different movie.
yeah.
Star Wars. John,
John
Williams is the
Williams.
best.
Yeah.
No one can beat
I think
that.
hands down, Star Wars wins
Yeah.
this competition.
Not even close, but I wanted to give credit to another
The-
movie.
I think it's
other-
been established with Father Yodeler and us. It's like John Williams, you're like
You're good.
king of the mountain. You
There's
won.
a reason why he's had over 50 nominations as best composer for original score. There's another one on there that definitely needs mention, and that's Mary Poppins.
Oh, yeah.
They use that in film school when they're teaching composers how to compose on arrangements. They say it's the best arranged film as far as how it's orchestrated and so on, and it is just magical. I mean, that first
Even the
overture
yeah, the overture
is
music.
just magical, and the magic just continues throughout that movie.
It kind of gets you mentally prepared for the songs that you're going to hear in the movie. So it's not as like jarring when the songs come up. It's because you already listened to what the song sounds like earlier. Mm-hmm. So
As you mentioned, the music, I'm playing it in my head, and I do feel that magic as you're saying it. And I was like, imagine watching it for the first time and just like feeling that music with it. That would be interesting kind of like thought.
That's true.
So if you want a Disney Plus experience with best original score with a Disney feeling to it, I do recommend Mary Poppins
absolutely.
as the
Yeah.
way to go for that Disney magic. Best art direction is up next, and we've got Star Wars and Alice in Wonderland 2010.
Hey, you know what? Alice in Wonderland is visually pleasing.
Yes.
It does. So you can see where that won that award.
Yes.
I mean, you watch it and you're transported to Neverland. Not Neverland. What is it called?
Wonderland.
Wonderland. Sorry.
Neighbors.
Neighbors. It's the third star to the
You got to get through Wonderland to get to Neverland. 'Cause that's why.
Just got to get to
Disney
that
did
tea
it in that
party, you
order.
know.
But obviously, but you can't beat Ralph McCurry's art, right? That's who did it, right? Ralph McCurry.
For Star Wars?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. Oh, his
Yeah, it's
artwork.
good.
They still refer back to his original artwork to what they make now, and apply it to what they're making now for the Star Wars series.
Yeah, hands down
Beautiful.
again, Star Wars wins. Hey, not surprising, Star Wars is the most awarded Academy Award
It won the
winning
most.
film on Disney Plus, followed by Mary Poppins. So next we have special achievement for sound effects editing. Gee, Star Wars is
Star Wars-
number one on
what?
the list. How did that happen? Who Framed Roger Rabbit? For sound effects editing, and The Incredibles.
I get The Incredibles. It was good.
All good, but Star Wars wins.
Yeah.
wins.
I don't know, that voice of the judge when he reveals that he's the one that killed the brother. He sounded just like this.
Oh yeah.
Well, it was
That's sound effects editing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
different.
yeah.
Different.
still sound.
Okay, next we have Best Sound Mixing, which went to two award winners there. We've got The Sound of Music and The Empire Strikes Back.
I mean, Sound of Music's great, but man, you really get that Darth Vader theme in there.
Yeah.
It is
Imperial
like,
March.
Man, I hear that Imperial March, and I'm pumped.
My son sings that all the time.
Yeah, he does.
Is it when you walk into the room?
Dun, 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 dun. And it's his favorite Star Wars movie, Empire Strikes Back.
It's
I've tried putting on the other ones, and he's like, "Nah, I want to watch Darth Vader movie because it's his face on the picture." He's like, "I want to watch the Darth Vader movie," and it's got Boba Fett in there, and he's also a Boba Fett fan as well. So
Okay, so with this one, we're going to have...
They're both good.
They
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to. They're apples and oranges when
Yeah.
comparing.
Very different.
So watch The Sound of Music and The Empire Strikes Back. You'll love it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now we get to the best original song. We'll ask Peters to sing all the titles.
Oh, I'm going Man or Muppet
You're-
on this
you're-
one.
you're-
Am
Yeah.
I a man?
you're
or
lucky.
am
I know what you're
Muppet?
talking about. You just put the word "win" next to one of them. I was like, "Win." Oh, he only put one word. Has this become a game where I have to guess what the songs are? Okay. So, is there? We got "When You Wish Upon a Star," and then "Chim Chimney, Chim Chimney, Chim Chim Cheree," and then "Under the Sea, Under the Sea," and then "Tale as old as time, true as it can be." Beauty and the Beast, and then A Whole New World. Sorry, I'm recovering from a cold, so my voice is not on par today. I've got a
Sure.
little deep voice today
Sure you
than
do.
I normally do. And then we got Can You Feel the Love Tonight? And then Can You Paint with All the Colors of the Wind?
Oh, we got chills.
No,
Right?
Not from your
No.
singing. Just
Not
thinking
from
of the
my
real
singing.
song. I was thinking of the real song
Right.
on that one.
And then You'll Be in My Heart.
That's a big no. I don't like Phil.
I
Song.
know-
I think
I
you
know-
kill.
I
I think
know
you
you
kill that
hate
film
that.
for me.
And then If I Didn't Have You from Monsters Inc. That's one of my
Oh,
favorite
it's
songs.
such a good song.
That's a good one.
Oh, such a great one, and it's only played in the credits.
Yeah.
And then We Belong Together from Toy Story 3.
That's a good
we
one.
belong together.
I'm surprised the song with Jesse in Toy Story 2 didn't
Didn't
win.
get on there.
That one.
I watched that today and I was like, oh gosh, my daughter's all like, oh, the toy got left behind. I was like, yeah, the toy got left behind. I've learned to cry on the opposite eye.
Loved me.
Yeah, that one I was like, jeez.
And then, Am I a man? Or am I a Muppet? Am I a Muppet?
That is the
It's
best
so
song.
good.
that- like you're watching a movie and you're like, what just happened here?
It was the song that came out of nowhere.
And it won. That's what was great.
And then, Let It Go, Let It Go.
I
from
mean,
Frozen.
that one was. I remember when Frozen hit, and it just like, Let It Go was everywhere. I would just be go in the grocery store and just hear little girls going, "Let it go, let it go."
I hear
That
that.
whole
I still
soundtrack.
hear it. My daughter sings it all the
That whole
time.
soundtrack they were singing obsessively
Yeah.
over.
So which one would you say represents the Academy Award for Best. Which one would you nominate?
So hard.
They are all so good.
I think Beauty and the
Beauty and
Beast
the
has
Beast.
this like
Yeah.
majestic, like if I was gonna play it at an award, that would be the one where it's the Regal song. They're dressed up nice. You could see the scene with with the computer where they're dancing.
The music paints a picture, and it's great. If I were to pick another one, When You Wish Upon a Star.
Yeah.
That is
That's Disney.
That's Disney. That says Disney.
that is
I have lots of
gold
respect
right
for
there.
that. The person who wrote the music for that. So yes.
Those are both two great picks. I would do Mary Poppins, Chim Chim.
What? You picked Mary Poppins? Wow, shocker.
I think Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious should have made it, and just for the fact that it was the
What?
SNL skit.
No.
I was surprised that was the one that Chim Chim Cheree.
I thought it was going to be I Love to Love.
No, I just liked it because of the SNL skit where it's like it's a disease of the liver.
Yeah, if I didn't pick When You Wish Upon a Star, I might be tempted to go Man or a Muppet because
That was a
Oh,
great
so
song.
good.
It's a great one
it
to
makes-
sing along to, like
You
to
do
belt
sing?
out. Like,
Do you guys debate if you are a man or a Muppet? Have you guys thought
I'm
about that?
a Muppet.
This is a frequent conversation with my husband Mark because he loves doing a Muppet voice, and I'm like, "Are you a man or a Muppet?"
I'm a Muppet. It's the best song to sing along to, for sure.
Yeah.
To just yell at the top of your lungs. Like, it is such a fun song to sing, for sure.
So up from that list, what song makes the movie? Like if you took it out, it destroys.
Oh, Beauty and the Beast.
I think a whole. I know. I think not Under the Sea. Okay, never mind. I thought I was thinking of another song.
No. It's Beauty and the Beast. That one.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
think. Yeah,
I don't know. Colors of the Wind. You take that out.
you would complete the whole movie would fall apart at that
The movie
point.
wouldn't be that good.
The movie wasn't that good to begin with. So.
I appreciate it more now as
Sure.
an adult.
But you take out that song, there's not many other good songs. So
What? Savages,
Yeah.
savages.
Okay.
Moving on that note.
So, Best Supporting Actor or Actress, we have one winner, and that is Edmund Gwenn, who played Santa Claus in Miracle on 34th
Santa Claus
Street.
wins it all.
how can you not give Santa Claus?
Yeah, that's a tough one to like vote against. It's like taking them to court, right?
Yeah.
I just feel sorry that they didn't give him Best Actor, but maybe they decided, oh, well, he'll win if you give him the supporting actor.
So while we're talking about actors, you don't have this on the list anymore, but Haley Mills won a Juvenile Award. And it's an award that only went out to 13 people. And on that list, it was like Shirley Temple, like Mickey Rooney, Judy Garland, Margaret O'Brien. So these are like kid actors that they gave an award. And it wasn't every year that they gave this. So she was actually the last child actor to receive one, because after that, I think it was like 1972, somebody won. And they were like, okay, we were gonna get rid of this award, but they gave him like a miniature, Academy Award as a result. And yeah, she was the last one, and she actually like lost that award. And they're like, well, we broke the mold, we don't have it anymore, so they gave her like a regular sized one.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's interesting, and she came out of nowhere, like
Remind me what she
Haley
was in.
Mills, Pollyanna.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I mean, she
She
came
did a
out of
lot.
nowhere. She was in this
She
movie,
did the Parent Trap, too.
Yeah.
Parent Trap, and
She was
That
like-
Darn Cat, and Moon Spinners. That's not on Disney Plus.
It's a good one. I have that.
Summer Magic and Castaway. Yeah, she got signed to a six movie deal. They saw her in a movie, Tiger Bay, the producer, and was like, "That's my person." And she just, it was just natural for her. And sorry, I'm like all into Haley Mays because I listened to an audiobook.
Yeah.
And I was like, she narrates it herself. and it's very it's informative about being a child actor. And she talks about the coolest part was meeting Walt and how cool and genuine and like he was Father Walt. And like they got to go to the park and it was the coolest thing. So
One of my favorite stories that I've heard was when Walt was directing, I think it was like Parent Trap or something. And there's a part where she has to sing and she's like, I'm not like a singer. And he's like, well, you're an actor, so act like you can sing.
and it worked. I
Yeah.
mean, because of like
Let's get together. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that, like I don't know, was it that song that went like it was like number 8 on the chart?
Probably.
And like she had like songs and records. You would think that she, had a financially successful life after that, but unfortunately her money was in a trust and in Britain, and they were like Britain was in deep debt after the war, and so they had huge tax on those kind of trusts, and she lost 95% of all that money that she did. It just like and she spent it on, it was the lawyer's fault and all that, and it was
That's
rough.
sad.
And what happened?
It's hard to hear those like sad stories when like actors lose all that money, like especially like child actors and stuff.
Yeah, but she had, I mean, she was very satisfied with her experiences, and she only speaks positive things about like work for the Disney company and all that. She says the hardest part was trying to shed that image of being like a child actor, as most like the actors that we experience on Disney Channel shows and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But yeah, sorry, I'm tangenting on that, but I did research and I was like, I'm going to talk about it.
Hey, she was an Academy Award winner. So
She
if
was.
you'd like to see one of the best actresses out there, Academy Award winner, Pollyanna.
She is good. And she was like, it was so natural for her to do it. And she
Great
had
story, too.
Yeah. And her dad was actually an actor too, and he is the father on Swiss Family Robinson.
Right.
He kind of snaked his way. They wanted her, and he was like, well, if you take her and sign her, you got to give me a deal. And like, so he piggybacked off of that,
He did a fine job.
Yeah.
Okay, now moving on, we go to Best Visual Effects. And the nominees are 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Mary Poppins, Bedknobs and Broomsticks, Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest, Avatar, and the Jungle Book 2016 version. So all those won the Academy Award for Best Visual Effects.
Not, I mean, Avatar probably, visually, it's probably the most, like, stunning film. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you got the Star Wars. It's a league of its own.
Yes.
It's
I
tough.
liked Pirates of the Caribbean. I thought visually
Is that the last? Is that the last one, or is that
It's
the second
middle
one?
one.
That's
the
number
second
2.
one.
Number 2. Oh, sorry. Yeah, there's so many now.
Yeah.
I sorry, there's only 3 in my head right now.
Second. So,
I mean, not going for Avatar, or I go back to Roger Rabbit. I mean, you look at the behind the scenes on what they had to do to make that movie work. It's amazing how well that movie looks, in my opinion. So
visual effects is a creature of its time.
Yes.
And I think
Yeah.
each one of these
Absolutely.
in their
They're all
time
fantastic.
were all fantastic.
Think of like Mary Poppins come out in the 60s, and you're like, there's cartoons with my live action,
Yeah.
and it works
Stop
well.
and go animation. There was
There's a lot to it. Yeah.
Okay, now we go to Best Documentary. The winners were The Living Desert, The Vanishing Prairie, and Free Solo.
Never seen them.
Yeah.
I've seen The Living Desert
Okay,
for obvious reasons.
I've seen all 3. The Living Desert and The Vanishing Prairie are dated.
Yes.
So if you want to see a good example that's more relevant to today's audiences, Free Solo. I just watched it this morning because it was the only one on this list that I'd never seen, and it's gripping. Boy, my stomach was in knots while he was climbing El Capitan. It was like very, very enveloping. So you got to know the person, the type of person he was, and the experience. So Free Solo would be the one to see if you're looking for an Academy Award-winning Best Documentary.
But I would say those two, The Living Desert and The Vanishing Prairie, very important. without those, we probably wouldn't be having our level of documentaries that we have today. Without these ones kind of like set the bar as to like how documentaries work.
That they can be entertaining as
They
well
can be
as
entertaining, yes,
informative.
absolutely. And like yeah, it's dated, but it's very important historically to take a look at these as well, because you would not have Nat Geo if it were not for these couple that Walt
National
Disney
Geographic
started.
was there before. You wouldn't have probably the TV shows. Like
Right.
the magazine was there before, but documentary. Sorry,
Right.
I'm just clarifying. It's like
Okay. Best costume design, the winners were Star Wars, Black Panther, and Cruella.
So the first Star Wars movie got best costumes?
That's correct.
Okay.
Hey, I watched that Academy Awards, and when they were introducing the costume designs they would come out on stage, boy, when Star Wars came out, it was like, oh, they're going to win, and they won. I mean, it was straight. I mean, first time, that's what Darth Vader is.
It's true.
75%
I guess that's true. I wasn't necessarily
I didn't
thinking
think
of
about
Stormtroopers.
you're comparing to the other Star Wars
Costume.
movies as
Right,
well. Like
and-
when they
well,
replaced
I'm-
Darth Vader's suit, like
Well, I'm
Empire
like-
Strikes Back, and you're like, oh, he got an upgrade.
Well,
Like,
I'm thinking of like, like when we got to the prequels, like Phantom Menace and things like that, like those were beautiful costumes that were created for the movies. And
But
so
you're also like introduced to like Chewbacca, C-3PO.
Yeah, the
Costumes.
costuming there was
as you talk, it makes more sense to me. So
that it was.
I guess
was
it's more shocking
innovative.
that the others hadn't won.
Yeah.
And you'd seen period pieces, from the 19th century or whatever. You'd seen that many times, and even though they looked great on stage, when Star Wars came out, it was like, oh, they're gonna win because this. Yeah, I hadn't thought about it being a costume movie, but when you just see it presented in that light, you say, oh wow, yes. But that's not to knock movies like Cruella,
I think Black Panther.
Black Panther.
For me,
was
I would pick
good.
Black Panther. It just they didn't like their influence, but they're creating a whole new civilization, that would have developed in Africa, and like the sophistication. I think the costumes are amazing for what they did.
They are. It is extreme. It's all three of these. You can look at it and go, I see why they
Yeah,
won.
absolutely.
And Cruella, it's easy because it's dealing with someone in fashion, so you got to be bold, and also you got to take it in. This is around COVID, so you're not gonna get blockbuster level
Yeah.
costumes it's going against. And I'm not knocking. Like, I think it's fortunate when it did come out and that it got that award, because it may have had more competition in like against the other big films that come out, especially with Disney.
All
Yeah.
right. Then we have best makeup and hairstyling. We only have one winner for that.
Chronicles of Narnia.
The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So, and you can see it. I mean, if you watch that and you want to look at the makeup values there of what they did with all those creatures, I mean, a lot of them special
Minotaurs and the
effects, but the makeup
fawns
part of it was
Next level.
pretty stellar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I still haven't watched those films.
Really?
It came out when I was overseas, and I just never
Yeah.
watched them. And I think we started watching them, and life gets busy when you got a little kid. It's hard to.
Although the Chronicles of Narnia one, I think Prince Caspian is a better movie, and the Voyage of the Dawn Treader I think is a better book.
Yes, agreed.
But out of those three,
But technically, Voyage of the Dawn Treader wasn't made by Disney.
no, it wasn't. But I think it
It's
is
on Disney Plus because it was Fox that did it.
But it was The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe that won for best makeup. Okay, and now our final category. We've been waiting.
The Pixar list.
Yeah.
The best animated feature film, which is the most recent award.
Do we know when
that
they
bring
created
up.
this?
I think it was
category?
like 2001.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
This is
later.
recent.
And
Yeah.
that's what I was like. This
the
is
Disney
Pixar.
Award.
In fact, I actually have that date here, and I think it was 2001. Yes, 2001 is when they started Best Animated Feature. So, the best animated feature film winners for Best Academy Award for that is Finding Nemo, The Incredibles, Ratatouille, Wall-E, Up, Toy Story 3, Brave, Frozen, Big Hero 6, Inside Out, Zootopia, Coco, Toy Story 4, Soul, and Encanto.
So pretty much listen to our Pixar episode that we did 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and you'll hear our thoughts on a lot of these Pixar films and which ones we like. I think Coco was, when we weighed out all of them,
Was the favorite.
was the favorite.
Now that
Yeah.
you're mixing some Disney in there, which one of the Disney films would you put in there? There aren't many.
What do we have? We have Encanto. We have
got-
Zootopia.
I like Big
Frozen.
Hero.
Frozen.
I like Big Hero 6.
You
That
got
was
Hero
good.
6.
Toy Story 3 and 4.
But that's Pixar.
Oh, that is. You're right.
Yeah.
I think my vote would be Big Hero 6.
I'm going Encanto.
Um,
There's nothing like hating a good grandma, you know.
Come on,
no.
True.
Frozen pulled it out.
Frozen. It
Frozen
would probably
is-
win them all.
Yeah, but I don't. But if I had to choose to watch something, I would watch Encanto
Yeah.
over those. And Big Hero 6 is good, but I can't watch it all the time. It's like once in a blue
Sure.
moon kind of film for me, because it's like a superhero film. You watch it once and you're like, well, I'll watch it in 5 years. But Encanto, I can put it on anytime.
Got good music with it. It helps.
Yeah.
So ultimately, you can choose to watch the Academy Award ceremony, or you can put on Disney Plus and watch one of these
It's going to be a lot
Academy
more
Award
entertaining.
winners.
It's going to be a lot more entertaining watching this list than it is going to be watching that award ceremony.
Yeah. I don't think there's not too many that Disney.
I don't think Will Smith was
selected.
invited back, so you're not gonna get
Nope.
that. You're not gonna get that that slap in the face kind of excitement.
No, I don't think Strange World.
Strange Worlds.
Strange World is not
is
going
gonna
to
make
What
it.
was the Pixar movie?
There's Strange.
Turning Red, that got
Turning Red.
nominated,
Turning Red.
or was that last year? It got nominated.
No,
No,
this
that's
year.
this
yeah,
year.
that's right. That's
That's
this
the
year's.
pick.
Was there
this
only
year.
one Pixar movie?
Yeah, I think so.
Or
There,
Buzz.
Buzz
Buzz
Lightyear.
Lightyear.
That's it.
Yep, not going to win anything. So.
No, I think the one that's gonna win is the Pinocchio by
oh yeah,
Netflix.
it won
Oh,
Best Picture for. That's even nominated for Best Picture as well.
Yeah.
So probably going to be an off year for the
For Disney.
Disney film.
They did get nominated for the short film, the Le Pépé. It's the weirdest short film I've ever watched. It's about these kids that are in this convent, and it's during World War II in Italy, and they have to strap themselves to this harness so that the nuns can extract money from people that want to pray for their their sons and sons or husbands in war. And so these church nuns are just trying to get money, and then this lady brings this delicious cake with 36 eggs, and they're like, oh, I can't believe she made this cake with 36 eggs. And but it was she was going to give it to the kids because it would be an offering, for good blessings to her son to live. And so everything's about this giant cake, and there's this one troublemaker girl that's against these nuns, and they're like, all right, well, we have this beautiful cake, but we've all decided, right, that we're going to give it to the priest so he can be happy. The nun's trying to earn favor with this priest that's in charge of this church complex here in Italy. And, the one girl's like, no, I want that cake. And so the lady's like, I can't believe it. You're gonna. And so all the other people have agreed not to do it, and so she's the only one that gets a piece of this cake. And then in the end, the piece of cake's given to this poor guy, and he ends up falling on it. It's just you watch it, it's what am I watching? I bet you're saying to yourself, what am I listening to right now?
Right. Well, it just reminds me.
Nuns, cakes,
It's-
orphans.
It just doesn't paint anybody in a good light, except for the one girl. You're like, yes, you eat that cake. It's like Bruce and Matilda, where he's just
Oh yeah.
it's just
Right.
not as disgusting
It
looking.
just reminds me of the animated short with the girl and the matchsticks.
Oh,
So-
It's
was
not
a
that sad. It's
heartbreak.
not
Not
that
that
sad.
sad?
No,
Okay.
no. It's just like you're seeing these kids in these uncomfortable harnesses acting like angels, and people are like praying to them to like, please, I hope my son's alive. And the nuns are like, give me my money. It doesn't paint anybody in a good light. Everyone, yeah.
Not on Disney Plus.
It
It
is on
is.
Disney
Oh, it
Plus.
is?
That's on Disney Plus.
wow.
That's why I watched it.
It was just released.
It was
Oh,
like
okay, I
during
missed
Christmas, and I was like, "This is a weird Christmas video."
What was that one called again?
It was like Le Pépère or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's just like I watched it. I was like, "Okay." It's part of my like, let me try and watch everything.
Well, we've talked about a lot of movies and actors, so let us know if there's any movies that overall you think were the best overall that won an Academy Award. Let us know your thoughts on Pixar taking over animation feature films. There's a lot over there. But
I think there's a lot of competition out there with
There is.
animation. It's tough.
Kids are money. Disney showed,
yeah.
these companies like you need to tailor to this audience because they'll make you more money than anything.
For sure. So, with that being said, follow us on our social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You can email us at matterhornyodlers@gmail.com. You can also send us a message through Anchor. But have a magical day.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the Matterhorn Yodelers. Please remember before your bobsled comes to a complete stop to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And remember,
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.